it. I just push it away in the back.
This is different, though. This on my list for Joel to give Sue. It's called Release Milk Bath.
What?
Vegan milk bath made of coconut milk and cocoa butter and infused with rose petals and West Indian sandalwood essential oils smells subtly of chocolate. If you want her to feel extra sweet after using this gift.
Well, both her and I have one major addiction in our life, and that is chocolate.
So whether she smells like chocolate or you're actually enjoying tasting, this so there's one tip of the 5 I had for you today.
Uh-huh.
It's called Release Milk Bath.
All right. Well, how much does that one cost?
I eliminated the price.
All right, good. Then we're done. We don't got to do that one. Yeah, I'm trying to stay within that $10 to $15 range.
Okay, well then maybe you'd be interested in a Wise Owl Outfitters camping hammock. Now, if you love sleeping underneath the stars together, this highly rated camping hammock will take your experience to the next level. It's lightweight, easy to set up, and made to last a lifetime.
Uh-huh.
I always said, Jim Gaffigan's great quote, if you get in a hammock with somebody, you better be dating them. It's a great line.
The other thing I would add to that, as you mentioned, we're no spring chickens. Every hammock should have something mechanical to get you back out of it.
That's right. It's
very
impossible to get out of that. Basketball last night, Joel, North Dakota State men defeating Northland College 114-51. That's right. And UMary men and women defeat MSUM. Tough one for the men. They lost by a point. In that game, Bryce Ersfeld surpassed 1,000 points, so congratulations to him. And the UMary women defeated the Dragon women yesterday, but Natalie Steichen and Peyton Boom each combined for 13. Hockey tonight, UND at St. Cloud State. And also, Joel, you didn't have a shot clock when you played sports, right?
No, we didn't. And
you didn't have running clock in football when you played
No, we
football,
didn't.
correct?
Well, it depended on how far the game got out of control.
Well, then you went over to the guy that...
The refs would just go, hey, we got to get this thing going.
Don't hit the stop button.
Exactly.
Shot clocks in Minnesota approved, Joel, for the state of Minnesota, and you're going to find that in 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. So this will be implemented in the 23-24 season, Joel. Schools, I believe, will have to pay for their own, though, Joel. That's according to the MSHSL. And the estimated cost of installing a shot clock?
$2,826.
Close, about $2,500.
Well, that I guess pretty well. I will tell you this, that what took them so long? This was needed a long time ago.
It certainly came up, I mentioned in recent years. My headphones are in. There they are. In recent years, when in 2018, there was a girls' playoff game between Marshall and Waseca. And Waseca won the game, Joel, 17-4.
Yeah.
And the Marshall reportedly a final tally of 9 shots attempted. So there was they were holding the ball up, that kind of thing. So that
as we called it in the old basketball days, they took the air out of the ball.
That's right. And at times we would play that game. We didn't have a shot clock. It was a strategy.
Bill Hurlitzka did that in one game against he coached the Hankinson girls team, which was very good. They went to state, but they were playing somebody fast. I don't remember who.
No.
And he didn't want to get into it.
Take the air out.
He went 4 corners. And Bill was a very, very good basketball coach. And he took the air out.
Dean Smith used to do that at North Carolina time to time. Called the old 4 corners offense.
Mm-hmm.
So second round of the playoffs tomorrow, Joel, Southern Illinois at NDSU. So you got that going on. That's at 2:30, the kickoff on that one. But that is not why you called. It is Sue's birthday. I told you could get her the Release Milk Bath if you want her to smell like rose petals and West Indian sandalwood oils. I told you could go and find that camping hammock. How about a Flybird adjustable dumbbell? This was on the list also.
If I buy that,
do not get your wife.
She's going to call me a dumbbell. So yeah.
Okay. So Sue,
here, honey, you should exercise.
Sue, that's such a setup. Sue's like, can you imagine? She'd call and say, "I already got one." Thank you. But as Lola would do. How about this? A 100% Himalayan salt lamp and ultrasonic essential oil diffuser.
What?
Well,
don't they sell lava lamps anymore?
I came in here to counter, yes, Ozzy Osbourne and your wife share a birthday, and let's go from the dark side all the way to the other side because Sue also shares a birthday with the great Ferlin Husky, country music singer.
Yes.
Remember Ferlin Husky?
Oh, yeah.
If you don't, come on, baby.
On the wings of the snow.
Come on, Abby. Come on, Abby.
He sends his pure, sweet love, a sign from above.
Next line, Abby, go.
On the wings of a dove.
Get that clapping, Abby.
Come on.
Troubles surround.
It's familiar.
When evils come.
It's ingrained into your brain now.
body
It's going to be
grows
there
weak.
forever.
Doesn't this feel like a Saturday morning,
I'll
doesn't
give
it,
you a
Joe?
hint. We're going to make you sing On the Wings of a Snow White Dove. Ready? It's coming.
When these things be
I think we have to break soon.
he doesn't forgive.
Okay, Abby, are you ready?
Let's
Do you have it now?
Here it is. Come on, Ab.
Here we go.
On the wings of the snow white dove, he sends his
clapping.
pure, sweet love, a sign from above. On the wings of a dove.
I don't feel her,
There's no energy there.
I just don't feel her jumping in
No energy
to
there.
the pool with us here,
I could
Joel.
just see her and Gwen getting ready in the morning and putting Merlin Husky on, and pretty soon Gwen's just talking about the wings of a snow white dove, and Abby's going,
You can
play Ozzy.
Abby, you can redeem yourself. You can redeem yourself. This commercial, this was sold for the first time in 1931.
You worked too hard, you ate too much, the cheesecake made you greedy. Let your aching head and stomach hear this message from old Speedy.
Sing it.
Alka-Seltzer, plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. Oh, what a relief it is.
Plop, plop, fizz, fizz.
Oh, what a relief it is.
That was on this date, 1931. Boy,
I heard her talking about a cheese stick in there.
maybe,
As we speak, Aunt Memory's singing, plop, plop,
fizz,
fizz,
fizz. Maybe, Joel, the most recognizable commercial jingle in the history of commercial jingles.
Those things, when they're good, you remember them forever. Remember, well, come on in.
Yes.
We'll talk about it.
All right.
She's giving me the look.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that?
It Takes Two.
Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
Jerkins News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Joel
Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. The hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11. And volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
The review projects the legislature may be asked to consider said the discovery of the Omicron COVID variant in the state was not a surprise.
It is an area that we need to show caution and concern around. We're learning more every day, but I do think it highlights one of the things that I pledged and with the help of the legislature on some of this, of making sure Minnesota had the best testing system in the country. The reason that we found it first is because we do this better. California, us, and Massachusetts have the best.
Wall says nothing has changed in the state's approach to COVID. He says the way out of the pandemic is for people to get vaccinated and follow up with booster shots. The man who came down with the variant lives in Hennepin County and had recently attended a convention in New York. He had mild symptoms and has since responded and is out of trouble. State fire investigator was not able to determine a cause of a blaze that destroyed a home south of Fargo Tuesday afternoon. Cass County Sheriff Jesse Johnner says the extent of the damage made it hard to come up with a cause or where the fire started. The homeowner, Moorhead chiropractor David Lotzer, suffered burns but is now out of the hospital. Woman in the home at the time the fire broke out was not injured. Johnner says the investigation will continue. Firefighters from Horace and Davenport responded along with the West Fargo Rural Fire Department. 8:33 under cloudy skies, 31. This is KFGO News.
Leslie Halverson here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that from
game?
It Takes Two?
Doug
Doug
here
with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Died. Someone called 911 around 8, reported an assault at the home on the east side, and officers responded. There they found a man in his 20s who had been stabbed. There have been no arrests, but police said they do have been identifying a person of interest. The most homicides on record in St. Paul had been 34 in 1992 and again last year. The cost of North Dakota's special 5-day session last month was within the amount that was anticipated. Cost so far totaled slightly more than $301,000. About $316,000 was budgeted for the session. The legislative budget analyst says 11 of the legislature's 141 members have thus far not submitted lodging and mileage expenses, so the final cost of the special session is expected to be close to the amount estimated. Lawmakers make $189 daily while in session. There's still no date for ending the mask mandate on the University of North Dakota campus. UND President Andy Armacost says he's in favor of anything that increases compliance of mask use, including increased signage. Armacost told a faculty town hall meeting that he's aware of some instances where masks are not being worn at all times.
One of the main reasons for having the mask mandate in class is that if somebody does come down with COVID, and they're close contacts with people, unvaccinated people who are not wearing masks, everybody has to be quarantined. It's important. The mask mandate is important because it allows us to keep the courses running.
UND leaders say the CDC threshold for masks is 50 cases per 100,000, and right now the Grand Forks region is 4 to 5 times that level. The KFGO Weather Center forecast coming your way, powered by Acme Tools. Stand up to the threat of power outages with a new Generac home or portable generator from Acme Tools. Do your best work. Too Tall Tom Szymanski checking things out. A little bit of winter coming back to our area, and looks like we're going to still have some melt today from that stuff we picked up last night, Tom.
Yeah, we should, except for, north sides of buildings or shelter belts or whatever, but most areas should exhibit a melt of the snow that we got because the predicted high is above the freezing point at 38. The weather brought to you by Legacy Seeds, putting integrity in every bag is Legacy Seeds. So there's still some patchy fog here and there, but that for the most part is gone. So just partly sunny sky developing and breezy conditions. Northwest wind increasing to 13 to 27 will make it to, I'd say around 38 or so. Mostly cloudy 22 tonight and tomorrow. A winter storm watch kicks in the evening through Sunday afternoon, mainly along and north of Highway 200. Does not include the Fargo-Moorhead area, but up north there will be more snow, relatively speaking, than in the southern areas. Areas of light snow will arrive locally sometime in the afternoon. Later up north, sooner south and west, and a high of 33. Then steadier falling temps in the afternoon as winds westerly become east-southeast at 7 to 20. Gusty wind for tomorrow night. Areas of snow locally tapering to snow showers or flurries or tapering to frizzle here and there. But up north, the snow will probably be ongoing all night long. Low near 26. Windy on Sunday. Areas of light snow. Some BS out there. And a morning high of 26. Then steady or falling temperature. Looks like in the local area in southward about a trace to 3, trace to 4 inches. Whereas north of Highway 2, probably 4 plus. North of Highway 200, 4 plus. North of Highway 2, 6 inches or more could occur in some areas. So there will be a lot more up north and a lot less down south. Colder Monday, breezy 12. And Tuesday, mostly cloudy, high right around 16 degrees. Right now we have a cloudy sky and 30 degrees in Moorhead, 31 at the airport, 32 at the KFGO Weather Cave.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. get out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. You know, that's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
Going to buy those for your wife's birthday.
Oh,
but I thought they'd be better served by you. I think Sue.
Gold emblem, fancy whole cashews. Sue's an almond person, like Ab, right? You're an almond person.
Yeah, I am an almond person.
Cashews to me
Really?
are the creme de creme. They are the Cadillac. They are the Mercedes-Benz, the Audi.
I like that.
Of nuts.
The Cadillac of nuts.
Yes, without doubt. Without doubt. When you were young, did your parents have one of those round deals where different nuts were in it?
Yes.
And then the nutcracker was in the middle?
Yes.
Did you have one of those?
Yes.
Do they still make them?
I want. Oh yeah, if they do, they're going to be out on tables this holiday season.
I
because
love them, man.
That's when it always came out. And I forget, you had the big walnut one that you cracked, and it just looked like the thorax of a dinosaur and the lungs of a.
I loved it. I would crack them just for fun.
What were the?
But I like walnuts.
What were the little ones? They were harder.
Yep.
They looked like almost like a little acorn, but they were just. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. You'd have to get your cousin Tony to come
Just to
crack them.
Yeah, you'd have to have the grip of a mechanic.
What were those called? Bones don't. Oh wait, it'll come. 35270. They were the small. They did look like an acorn.
Yes, but
you sure they weren't acorns? Because you had
the humans eat acorns.
The Brazilian nuts, right?
Yes. Yep.
No, you could keep those. You had the almonds. Okay, I could do them or not. You know, you had walnuts. I'm in. Cashews, they were gone right away.
No one's ever getting those.
No, because your dad ate them. Hazelnuts. Thank you, folks. Thank you. Filberts.
Yes.
Which one was it?
Well, whatever it is, thank you, because Joel, you and I would have worn that all weekend long.
Filberts. Now I'm digging. Okay. But that nut tray was close to Dad.
It's amazing.
And Dad would just sit there and, they're definitely hazelnuts. Hazelnuts called filberts. We're right either way.
That's it right there.
We go. Thank you, folks.
The smallest things you have to work hardest for, like snow crab. You have to crack, but
it's worth
pull
it.
out this little piece, and then it's delicacy.
Yep.
Hazelnuts, the same thing.
But they were good. They're good. I got to buy me some of those. They still sell that? I mean, the nut tray.
When's the last time you went out and sought out a hazelnut? 70?
I just found out what I'm going to buy Sue for her birthday.
A sack of hazelnuts.
A great big dog.
Well, I gave you already ideas earlier, so that's I can't wait to see Sue. Look at that hammock.
I think we might have the tray. I know the Arfers did. Her parents did.
Yep.
Mom and Dad did. The little nutcracker that was in the middle.
We had that tray. We had a tray that was like a hard plastic that I think it was like Santa Claus laying down. Like his head was up here, and it was like this Santa Claus ball. It's funny how you remember those things.
So the one decoration in Ma and Pa's house at Williston, that when it's out, you know it's Christmas. I mean, they might decorate a little bit here and there, might pick away at it, but when that one's out, and the tree doesn't qualify.
No.
When that one's out, it's Christmas.
I think you got it. I think that nut tray.
Nutcracker?
I think the nut tray was it.
Okay. Because that back home was definitely it with Mom and Dad.
Right.
But with us now, raising girls, she has this thing called a Christmas goose. And it goes on that circular lazy Susan. Imagine that.
There it is.
In the middle of the kitchen counter, the island. And this thing stands, if you're watching on video, it stands about that high on YouTube. But the goose's neck got broke by one of my lovely daughters when they were young, right? And then surgery happened. And thank you for Mr. Crazy Glue. And he's always still with us.
Much like the fishing rod and Grumpy Old Men that get glued back together.
So Sue took a picture of it, and I'll show you that in a sec. I'm sorry, folks, I can't. But she took a picture of it saying, "Christmas can now begin."
I love it.
Yeah, I know. It's way cool, isn't it?
Not that you called and asked for this, but Did we once ask how it became known as a Lazy Susan?
I think I know.
Really?
Yeah.
Was there a male equivalent like the lazy?
What Susan have you met that wasn't lazy?
Oh my goodness.
No.
Well, that's it for me, everybody. Have a good show, Joel.
And Lola would say, but
oh my goodness gracious.
I was just kidding.
It's a term of...
Have fun at that event with your wife tonight.
She's bringing a bunch of clothes to Goodwill. she's probably on the road on her, at 60. I mean, she's slow moving, folks, so don't worry. But she's probably
the lazy Susan and
at her dash
doesn't do much.
We apologize, Sue. You married him.
But
wow. I just
I'm lost for words because I knew I'd gone too far.
That's just a wow. You guys must love each other.
I've got to
You've been together for so long.
Christmas goose.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How do you get out of that one, Joel?
I don't know. I'm waiting for you to talk.
Okay.
Start talking. I don't care what you talk
there's
about.
There's just no way out of that. Normally, if you've got some words and vocabulary, you could find a way out of most things. Abby?
There it is.
So, hazelnuts. Do you like Nutella?
Right. Have you seen that? It's French. Oui.
Okay. The Christmas goose.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to show this if you're watching on YouTube. I'm sorry if you're not. You can't. Jack, describe it. You're like the ultimate in theater of the mind.
It's a Christmas goose. It certainly is standing at attention with a smile on its face and Christmas on its head.
Christmas on its head.
Its
surrounded
neck
by
was fractured.
Sugar. The neck does look like it has been
damaged.
Yep. Whoever did that surgery, woof. Not too bad, though. Not too bad. What's the green thing?
There it is, folks. I don't know if you can see that. The green thing is a wreath. It's a Christmas wreath around its
necklace.
neck. Yep. I don't know if we've named it. If we have, I apologize to my daughters and my wife if they've named it, but she's got it. She's got like this, I don't want to say duct tape, but fancy tape she puts on the Lazy Susan, which I don't know why they named it that because I've never met a Susan that's lazy.
35270.
How'd I do, Ab?
Certainly
Did I pull out of that one? Am I okay?
Did you throw him the shovel yet? And how deep is the hole?
Should I quit digging?
Yeah.
Just let
How
me.
deep is the hole?
All right. Where are you calling this weekend? Where are you going?
Got a basketball game tomorrow at the Betty Engelstad Sioux Center. 1 p.m. the tip-off on that. The Morris Cougars. They get on UND. Hold on. I got so choked up.
I feel a big can of whoop butt coming on.
I was choked up on that. So we got that tomorrow. Of course, you got hockey tonight in St. Cloud for UND. North Dakota State football against Southern Illinois, which I know you're going to talk about today.
Yep.
Second round. And
Thank you to Pro Seed. Need Seed. Thank Pro Seed. They want us talking about the Bison, so we're going to.
That's right. The and interesting enough, the UND men tonight are in take on San Jose State. San Jose State basketball now coached by Tim Miles.
Oh, I like Tim.
Great guy.
I like Tim. Tim is. What was your advice for the day? Your Dale Carnegie bring
sunshine. Yeah,
that's
no matter
Tim.
Wherever you go, no matter what the weather,
he brings energy. No matter where he goes.
I've flown with Tim a lot during games that he's a ball of energy. How can you like that? But
there was a tie to Mayville there, wasn't there?
Yeah, there is. There's a tie to Mayville, tie to UMary.
Yeah, he coached in Mayville,
NDSU,
right? Okay.
And of course Nebraska and all that. But Paul Sather's bunch got a good club, so that'll be that's a 9:00 tip-off.
Okay, I'll be listening to you, buddy.
All right, I'll be watching the Food Channel, thinking of how you can get out of the hole that you dug yourself into.
All right, stick around. We're going to Starkweather. I don't want to do it, but we have to right after this.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
Jerkins News Radio. Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and buddy.
All right, nobody wants to go there on a Friday, but it's not my fault. I want to thank Jeremy Turley, the Fargo Forum, for the excellent reporting that was done here in relation to the superintendent of Starkweather, North Dakota. Now, the superintendent of Starkweather's name is Larry Volk. Larry Volk. And keep this in mind. Larry Volk is the highest paid superintendent in the state of North Dakota. Starkweather has 63 students. 63 students, right? Or at least that's what it had by its last census. Larry Volk gets paid over $200,000. So I'm just going to be round to $200,000. That means $3,174 that come into that school district per student, which is really where the money comes in, right? Per student goes to Larry Volk. That's right. He gets paid more than the superintendent in Fargo, in West Fargo. This man in little Starkweather, North Dakota, gets, imagine that teacher that's in Starkweather that isn't making $40K. And we're talking about how to get teachers more paid. Larry Volk gets over $200K to run a school district with 63 students. Now, what did Larry Volk do? He sent a letter out, and he sent it out to the North Dakota Council of Educational Leaders. That's a group whose dues, you got to pay dues to be in, right? So you're talking about superintendents, principals, that type of a group, school board members. But those dues are usually, and I would suspect that Starkweather paid the money for those dues. That's what happens. The school district pays it. Well, then Larry sends out a letter to all of them. And in his letter, he compares, now this is where it ticks me off, he compares Democrats to Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler. And he talks about how we need to teach about Christian heritage in our schools, right? Now remember, this is a public school. I went to catechism in my school. I have no problem with a discussion about Christian faith happening in schools. That's not my point. My point is there could be kids in the Starkweather school that are Jewish, right? There could be kids in the Starkweather school who are Democrats. They're not welcome in Starkweather. They're not welcome in that school district. He sends this out on the public's dime. He makes sure he's paid more than anyone else. And what does he do? He goes about, imagine being that young boy or that young girl. Your parents fought hard. Your parents, your grandparents fought hard to get the rural electric in, to make sure that the Farmers Union had gas pumps there, to make sure that there was rural telephone, that they believed in the cooperative movement. And so they have a base in the old MPL. They believe in the state mill and elevator. They believe in the state bank. And that's what put them in a position where, hey, this is how we vote. This is where our foundation is. We believe in infrastructure. But they might have a different political view than Larry Volk. Those kids aren't welcome in that school district. Imagine being that student coming into that school district, going to that school superintendent, and sitting there thinking, what chance do I have with this guy? He's already labeled me. I'm a Nazi. I mean, think about that. If I disagree with anything he says, I'm not Christian. That's what's going on in Starkweather. And now you're going to say, well, wait a second. He's got a school board. Understand this. The Chris Berg, the chair of the school board, says we know who he is and we fully support him. I think we just found out, ladies and gentlemen, why Larry Volk is getting paid $200,000 a year. For you folks in the Starkweather School District, do not go anywhere and complain about your property taxes. You have no right to complain about your property taxes because you're paying more on your property taxes than you should because of Chris Berg and Larry Volk's ideology. The public is paying for this, and there are people not welcome in that school district because of this. We called Larry. We sent Larry an email and said, come on, defend it. He didn't call back, or he didn't email back. He doesn't want to come on and have to defend this in a good, rigorous, honest debate. Larry, let me just say this to you. I'm not somebody who just rolls over and pretends that, that's Larry. He's got his own opinion. I'm somebody who takes this on because those kids in that Starkweather school of parents that disagree with you deserve a public education. And people like you shouldn't be able to take it from them. Come on, Larry. Come on. Let's debate.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too, so yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors is it's awesome.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek Hansen, Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes.
Good morning, 9 o'clock. Under mostly sunny skies, 32 degrees. I'm Don Haney. The North Dakota Highway Patrol has now identified the woman who was struck and killed on a highway near Killdeer as 73-year-old Elaine Fettig of Killdeer. She had stopped to help someone change a flat tire, and as she walked across the road, she was hit by a pickup and died at the scene. There were no injuries. That crash is still under investigation. State fire investigator was unable to determine the cause of a blaze that destroyed a home south of Fargo on Tuesday afternoon. Cass County Sheriff Jesse Johnner says the extent of damage made it difficult to come up with a cause or where the fire may have started. The homeowner, Moorhead chiropractor Dr. David Lotzer, suffered burns but is out of the hospital. A woman in the house when the fire broke out was not hurt. Johnner says the investigation will continue. Firefighters from Horace and Davenport responded, along with the West Fargo Rural Fire Department. Jury selection is now almost complete as the manslaughter trial of Kim Potter continues today in Minneapolis. Reporter Scott Peterson has the report.
12 jurors have been seated and 2 alternate jurors must still be selected. Late Thursday, one prospective juror was excused by the judge after she told the court her friend had been questioned by Officer Potter after a car accident years ago.
Detective Potter was there and speaking to my friend. And instead of interrogating her about the hit and run, she was interrogating her about her boyfriend, who is black.
Potter is white and Dante Wright was black. Another juror Thursday who was seated wrote on his questionnaire that he strongly agreed that the criminal justice system is biased against black people.
I do. I think there's a systemic racism problem in the system.
The man did say, however, that he could put that aside and make a decision on the case based on the evidence at the trial.
Former Brooklyn Center Officer Potter has pleaded not guilty in Wright's death. Opening statement set for next week. As Minnesota logged its first case of the new Omicron COVID variant, State Health Commissioner Jan Malcolm was asked what advice she has for Minnesotans about their holiday travel and family gatherings.
Even without Omicron, there was plenty of reason for people to take full advantage of those prevention tools, especially vaccination and testing and masking.
Health officials say although vaccination might not prevent everyone from getting COVID, in many cases it's going to lessen the severity, and they say initial data indicates that's also the case for the new Omicron variant. KFGO weather, we're looking at a forecast from meteorologist Tom Szymanski that's talking about some weather this weekend. Today, partly sunny, breezy. Expected high today should be about 38. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low down to 22. Areas of light snow arriving by tomorrow afternoon under cloudy skies. Expected high about 33 with steadier falling temperatures by the afternoon. Tomorrow night, low 26. And Sunday, mostly cloudy, windy. And looks like we'll see some areas of snow, some blowing snow, and a morning high about 26. Currently, we have mostly sunny skies. It's 32. I'm Don Haney, News Radio, KFGO.
I want to make sure you know about Eric Hatch and the job that
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Roberson here with another News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that?
It
Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
News Radio. Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Access, your home.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
It's Friday.
That it is. Whenever you do that, you never hit my button so that I can just, say, good job. That it is.
Okay, you're so
Control
inconsistent with your button. 99% of the time, I don't have to worry about Joel and his button.
She just picks
But that 1%.
It is Friday. I hope you're off to a good one. By the way, if you're a guy, you've got what? It's the 3rd of December.
Yep.
You've got 21 more days before you have to shop. Huh?
I just got the Christmas present for my dad for my mom.
Well, then you got her done.
Yeah. I
want to thank Proceed, Need Seed, Think Proceed, because they are huge sponsors of Bison Athletics. They are, and it's playoff time. It's gotten to be so routine that, hey, the Bison are at the Fargo Dome, playoff time starts. You know what? It's playoff time for the Bison. How exciting is that? Matt Larson, the boss of the Bison Athletic Program, the athletic director, is with me in studio. Matt, good to have you back here.
No, it's good to be back. It's been a while since I've been in the studio with you. We talk a lot on the phone, so it's good to see. It's festive in here, a lot of Christmas decorations. So, no, it's always good to be coming in and see you.
Abby and I set together that grill that we're giving away. We put it together yesterday.
Where do I have to put my name in? What's the process here?
6 hours.
You can win it on Tyler's show.
Yeah, you could.
It looks sturdy. I think you guys did an okay job.
Yeah, we did. We did.
And we barely got mad at each other.
Barely. Some words were used that didn't need to be used. Matt, Southern Illinois, I like the opponent. I like the matchup. It isn't like you don't know each other.
No, absolutely. I think our guys are excited. I think anytime, and I know fans like to see a new team coming in, but there's, a little unfinished business, I think, with Southern Illinois after last spring. And, those are things that our guys have a lot of pride in our program. And anytime you lose, those things that they take seriously. And so I know they're really focused this week. And especially now you're in the playoff. You lose and you go home. And so every game means a little bit more once you get into playoffs. So excited to have Southern Illinois coming to town.
I remember when you took over the Bison Athletic Program. Because everybody's like, well, that was good, it was strong. That's a hard thing to do because you're coming in after success and to keep that success going. And quite frankly, Matt, you've done that. So that's part of what I'm getting at there. But when you take a look at what's happened in the football program in COVID, I cannot imagine any athletic director, and I know this happened all over the nation, but how you could make that work with spring ball, with COVID, with fans, with some believers, some not believers. I mean, Is that going to be the biggest challenge you're ever going to have as an athletic director, hopefully?
Well, I hope so, and I hope we never have to go through it again. But, I give just a ton of credit to, you're only as good as the people you work with, right? And so, really fortunate. Our coaches, our student athletes, our staff from day one bought into the idea of what do we need to do to make sure we have an opportunity to compete, from a health and safety standpoint, from testing to you name it. And I just think from day one, they were on board with the idea of, hey, whatever it's going to take us to do, whatever sacrifice we're going to make, whatever adversity we're going to face, if we get an opportunity to compete in the spring, well, let's do what we need to do. And so a lot of credit goes to them. I mean, like I said, they bought in from day one.
When I look up in the stands at the Fargo Dome, what I see are people of all ages. My little grandson's got his bison gear on from when he was just a little shaver, and my son-in-law does that because he knows a lot of our family went to UND. Yeah. You need to know that.
Oh, I'm sure. I understand the family dynamics there. Right?
He sends pictures constantly, but you look up and you see people Reed's age, and then you see people in their 80s, and they're for that to not take the necessary precautions would have been completely irresponsible. And I know it wasn't popular. Yeah. I know that saying, hey, if you're coming, you got to wear a mask. We're only going to have half the crowd kind of a thing. But you got through it, man.
No, we did. And you're right, Art. And one of the cool things about our fan base is it's generational. You see generations of people coming to games and families coming to games. But you're right. That's why it's really important to make sure that not only did we have to make sure we were safe for our student athletes and our staff, but our fans. Our fans are a big part of what we do every single day and every single year. And so wanted to try to find a way to make it safe for the ones who could come, make it safe and healthy for them. And certainly ones that didn't feel comfortable, they able to stay at home, watch it on TV, those kinds of things. And so, but it's great. I'll tell you, it's great to have people back in the Dome this year, back in the Shield Center, back in supporting our team. And we've seen the numbers across a lot of our sports be really good. I think people missed being out and seeing and being able to cheer on the Bison.
Yeah. Well, I think this weekend's a good example. Playoffs are always a little different in the sense that, tickets don't – it seems to me I've always been able to get a ticket to a playoff game because it is different than a regular season game. And so are they all sold out? Can you still find some?
No, I mean, as of yesterday, we still probably had about 4,500 tickets available. Okay, and so that's a pretty significant number. When you look at, as you mentioned, as you look at the playoffs the last couple of years, those early couple of rounds, we have seen maybe some lighter attendance. And I think there are some folks who just maybe assume, rightly or wrongly, that we're just going to make it to the semifinals. Yeah, and then hey, I'll just wait and I'll get my tickets then. But the one thing I would tell folks is, we have a 28-1 record in the Fargo Dome in the playoffs, which is insane. Now, a lot of that has to do with good football, but I think a lot of that has to do with an unbelievable home field advantage. When you think about visiting teams having to come into the Fargo Dome, and I think for the longest time, our fans took that was a badge of honor, that, hey, this was the best home field advantage in the country. But that happens when we have 18,000 people in the Dome. When we have 13,000 people in the Dome, it's just not the same. And so hopefully, folks have all day. We'd love to see the place packed and, give our guys the opportunity to be able to play next weekend. And, that's just an opportunity. We have to take care of business tomorrow, but certainly having a full Dome goes a long way to help us there.
And I can vouch for the fact, being in the middle of that field with stripes on, when it's 19,000 people screaming you did a bad job, that's worse than if there's 10,000, okay?
That's exactly right.
It's just the way it is. So this team, every team's got a different personality. When you look at this team, what do you see?
I see it's interesting. We have some guys who've been in the program. We have some 6-year guys, Cordell Volson, a guy who's played an unbelievable amount of games, got a COVID year, decided to come back. And so, but we also, on the other end of the spectrum, we have, I think Coach N said, probably 50 some odd guys that could have redshirted this year. So as much as we have some veteran players, we also have some really young players. But I think this team this year, I think after going through the spring and in such a weird and just a lot of unique circumstances, I think they see it as kind of unfinished business. I really do. There's, like I said earlier, there's so much pride in this program. And so to be a team that didn't make a run to a national championship, as crazy as that sounds, that resonates with those guys. And that means a lot. And, they feel as if they let the team down. And so I know they're excited to have an opportunity. Now, again, it's just an opportunity, but to chase after that again this year.
I don't know if this is going to make any sense, and I got 50 that says you don't agree with me. But it seems to me that at the start of the year, that a number of football teams this year, normally you get more dinged up as the year goes. That guy's out, this guy's out. It seems like with the Bison in particular this year, they got healthier as the year went on because they were coming in dinged up. Does that make any sense?
Well, it's interesting because we've thought about that a lot too. I mean, going into the playoffs this year, and again, you knock on wood, but this is probably the healthiest we've been across the board. I would say probably in the last 5 or 6 years. And so as much as concern as, and a lot of people have, I think rightfully so, that you play in the spring, you have 3 months off, and you get right back after it again. What was that going to do on kids' bodies? And so, again, I give a lot of credit to our staff. Our coaching staff did a lot to make sure that, knowing that we were putting a lot of mileage on our guys, let's scale back in practices when we can. Coach Kramer did an unbelievable job of making sure guys were taking care of the bodies, rest and recovery, so that way we could play 20 games in a calendar year and not have it be a detriment. And so I think we're seeing, hopefully, the fruits of that labor and that plan right now with being really healthy as we go into the playoffs.
How many teams are in from the Missouri Valley?
So there were 6 originally, and there's 3 remaining. So there's Southern Illinois and,
but 6
and North
teams
Dakota.
made it in.
Yeah, which is a record. Yeah, a record year.
What does that say about when you go to FCS meetings? Because it isn't just Missouri Valley. People must give you crap. I mean, they must look at you like, Matt, the Missouri Valley, man, could you ease off a little bit?
Well, and I think I think they do. I think there's an element of, and I was on the FCS committee this year, and so it was a really neat experience to be in there, especially with 6 teams getting in. But I would say this: as much as people are, upset that, hey, the Missouri Valley's so good and they're dominating, I think they have just an incredible amount of respect. Folks that have seen us play our league, when I say us, I think just have a lot of respect for the way we play the game. The physicality, the athleticism, those kinds of things. So I think getting 6 in, I think just speaks to the depth of our league. There's some leagues that are really maybe top heavy, but I think the strength of the Valley, and in my 8 years, I think this was probably the strongest our league has been in 8 years. And then we end up getting 6 teams in, so I think rightfully so.
There was no games this year short of one, and I'm not going to say that team that when I was out pheasant hunting or hanging out or doing this, that I knew the Bison were going to walk away from. I don't mean that as any slam to the program. I'm just saying that every week I thought, you know what, they got to play ball today, and they did. But it was.
I think you're exactly right, and I think credit to NDSU in terms of the success. I think has caused everybody else to elevate their investment, their commitment to football, and we're seeing that in the level of play across the board in our league. You're right. There's no slam dunk game anymore. You don't show up. I don't care who it is, where you can just show up and kind of go through the motions and expect to win. The league is just too good now.
I don't think it's ever fair to have these conversations and not mention the other programs as well. So stick around. Matt Larson, athletic director at North Dakota State University, is with us, and we're going to visit some more. But first, we're going to get to Too Tall Tom Szymanski. Tom?
Alrighty, well, we got ourselves, relatively speaking, a quiet day today with highs in the 30s and 40s. At times, a gusty northwesterly wind setting up and a variable amount of cloud cover across the region, all due to a departing low-pressure system. And then things could get interesting from this point forward as low pressure moves our way from the south and west, spreading snow into the region by tomorrow night, and into Sunday. Along and north of Highway 200, or roughly thereabouts, there is a winter storm watch in effect for later tomorrow through Sunday afternoon and evening. Further south, lesser amounts of snow, but along and north of Highway 200, 4+ inches will probably occur, and some blowing and drifting and colder temperatures will be the rule behind that system, as highs by Sunday will be in the teens and 20s. So watch out for some snowfall beginning tomorrow night, and also into Sunday. Temperatures across the region as we start off our Friday are generally in the 30s, pretty consistent, some upper 20s up north. Too Tall Tom's town of the day is Rugby, North Dakota, where it's 23. I'm meteorologist Tom Szymanski from the News and Views Regional Weather Cave.
Thank you, Tom. I want to thank Proceed. Need seed? Think Proceed. Big supporters of Bison Athletics. Getting some text message in. Some want to ask Matt about the portal. Montana State quarterback went portal yesterday. With a game on Saturday. So, man, we'll talk about the structure of the NCAA when we come back.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. Yeah. That's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to address.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things.
Fair, Ab?
Fair. I'm waiting. I haven't played Thunderstruck yet, but I'll get there.
Matt Larson is here, athletic director for North Dakota State University. And I want to thank Proceed, Need Seed, think Proceed for always supporting Bison Athletics. Matt, this portal situation that I mentioned before the break, you've got a quarterback over in Montana, or is it Montana State?
Montana State.
And he just says, I quit.
Yeah.
How is this working, and how should it work?
And again, this is my personal opinion, and there's a lot of opinions out there. I know some folks would say, well, hey, coaches, you look at just this last week, Lincoln Riley left his team and they still have games. Brian Kelly has left his team at Notre Dame and they still have games. And so if it's good for the coaches, why isn't it good for the players? I don't agree with either one, to be honest with you. I think you've committed to a program. That's what I always tell my kids. Hey, if you want to quit at the end of the year, that's one thing, but you're going to make it through the season. You've made a commitment to your team, your players, the institution, whatever it is. I think you need to stick with that. But this is, unfortunately, this is the world we live in now, where, you saw it, you see it earlier in the year too, after, maybe a freshman at a place, is particularly in football, plays their 3 or 4 games, where you can still redshirt, and then goes into the portal after that and quits 4 games into the season. So it's messy. It's not great right now, and hopefully at some point it normalizes, but it's kind of what we have right now.
How does it change how you have to manage? I mean, it's almost like a poker game now. It's like, okay, is he talking to somebody? I need to know. What are you hearing? You know, that kind of stuff. I mean, it has to be on people's minds.
Yeah. Well, and that's the tough part too, is, you know, you still see a lot of people are trying to recruit off people's rosters. And that's illegal. You're not supposed to do that from a recruiting standpoint. It's an NCAA violation, but it happens. And it may not be the head coach of some institution reaching out to a player. It's their high school coach. It's somebody else. And so they try to work the back channels to try to see, hey, was this kid interested in maybe coming to our place? And so that's the dark part of, I think, our business. There's a lot of great things about college athletics, but that's one of the pieces right now that probably isn't so great.
I want to talk about the other programs because I've always said a bias. Whenever we talk, we do this because the other programs deserve attention too. Walk me through.
Well, I mean, it's been right now we're in the midst of, you know, kind of the crossover season with football still going on. We had a men's basketball home game last night.
Was it a game?
No, it wasn't really a game.
I saw the score.
You know, it was good. We got to go deep into the bench.
Yeah.
You know, Coach Richmond got to go deep into the bench. We got a lot of guys some time, so that was good. And then our women's basketball plays home on Saturday after the playoff game, and so I think both teams off to a good start. Both teams, men picked preseason number 2, women picked preseason number 3. So a lot of high expectations for both of those teams. But I think based on where those programs are roster-wise, there's some great depth. And so excited about both of those. And then wrestling's going on right now too. And, you know, we have 4 or 5 guys ranked nationally in the top 15, top 20. And so excited about what that program, a lot of veteran guys, everybody came back from last year. And so I think a lot of excitement this winter as we continue, hopefully football, but also get into some of these winter sports.
You know, it's solid up and down. I mean, you're not going to be national champions at every level, but to bring in quality athletes and realize they're students, that's a big part. You know, a little bit later, we're going to get a chance to visit with Brock Jensen, huge success story, you know, doing well in his professional career, which is really the goal. I mean, you know, going around, I tried to explain this to someone about Fargo. I got into Green Bay. And I got into the airport in Green Bay, and I was flying to an office complex there, and I counted within a 10-minute ride, I counted 12 cars with Green Bay Packers stickers on the back. Right, go around Fargo, and what you're going to see is Bison license plate, Bison stickers. I mean, this is a Bison town. People are dedicated.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And when I meet with recruits, I always tell them, you know, if you come to NDSU, what you do here matters. People care. You know, they care if you win or lose. You know, they support us in a really great way. And so, you know, a lot of places, you know, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. People don't pay attention. They don't care. Well, here it matters, and they care a lot. And, you know, but it's not easy to be a Bison either. You know, we have really high expectations. It goes back to what we were just talking about. All of our programs, we expect to compete for championships. And so, but you hope the lessons they learn in their 4 years here, it prepares them to go on like Brock and so many and have successful professional careers and personal relationships and those things once they leave NDSU.
The dedication to higher education, is it as strong as before? I'm seeing it not just at NDSU, but other institutions, the enrollment's dropping a little bit. What's going on, Matt?
Well, I think there's a little bit of a changing dynamic in just how people whether, you know, I think there's you're seeing a little bit of a shift of some people, you know, are foregoing the 4-year college experience and maybe going right into trades or other lines
there's
of business.
Money there now.
Yeah, there absolutely is. And there's a shortage in a lot of those areas. And so, but you're also seeing too, just different learning styles too. You know, you're seeing a lot more, maybe not as much as the traditional on campus. You're seeing, you know, a lot of online learning, you know, remotely, those kinds of things. And that's where COVID, you know, showed us that you can do all those things and do it effectively. And so, you know, at NDSU, we still value the traditional college experience, but understand that there has to be some of those online experiences too for the non-traditional students who still want to get, attend higher education, you know, further their knowledge base, those kinds of things. So I've always said higher education, it's a consumer industry. And you're competing for other students. And so, that's where hopefully as an athletics program, being a front porch, we can get people, if they're going to look at our football program, our basketball program, our softball program, well, hey, take a look on our website and maybe end up coming a student here.
Matt, you do a good job. Good luck on Saturday. There's still tickets available.
There are. No, appreciate it, Joel. Thanks so much. Yeah, go on to gobison.com, call our ticket office. Love to see you in the Dome on Saturday.
When we come back, Dale Lennon, former coach at UND, now athletic director at Mary, right after this.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the
News and weather brought to you by Ottertail Power Company.
Fargo-Moorhead, we have a mostly cloudy sky now. It is 31 degrees. I'm Paul Juergens. Governor Walz, during a stop in Dilworth to review projects that the legislature may be asked to consider, said the discovery of the Omicron COVID variant in the state was no surprise.
It is an area that we need to show caution and concern around. We're learning more every day, but I do think it highlights one of the things that I pledged, and with the help of the legislature on some of this, of making sure Minnesota had the best testing system in the country. The reason that we found it first is because we do this better. California, us, and Massachusetts have the best.
Walz says nothing has changed in the state's approach to COVID. He says the way out of the pandemic is for people to get vaccinated and follow up with booster shots. The Minnesota State Patrol is deploying its first shipment of body cameras to 40 troopers in the Twin Cities district. More than 600 additional troopers will have them by June 30th. Patrol Colonel Matt Langer.
The body-worn cameras give us an opportunity to have an undeniable record of what occurred roadside to augment what happens with the squad video system.
Troopers will turn on their body cams when they have any enforcement action with the public, such as traffic stops or crash investigations. Langer says if a trooper draws their taser or handgun, their body cam will be automatically activated. A judge in Sioux Falls has sentenced a woman for her infant son's 1981 death that went unsolved for decades. Judge Bradley Zell called the sentencing of 60-year-old Teresa Bentis a difficult decision. He says it was not clear how the newborn died.
The court is not condoning what Teresa Bentis did in this matter, but it is not all too clear that she killed her baby boy.
Zell said the child may have been stillborn or died shortly after he was born. He suspended most of the sentence, meaning Bentis will likely spend about 2 months in state prison. The cost of North Dakota's special 5-day session last month was within the amount that was anticipated. Costs so far totaled just more than $301,000. About $316,000 was budgeted for the session. A legislative budget analyst says 11 of the legislature's 141 members have not submitted lodging and mileage expenses. The final cost of the special session is expected to be close to the amount estimated. Legislators make $189 a day while in session. Meteorologist Tom Szymanski in the KFGO Weather Center. Looking at our weekend forecast, a winter storm watch tomorrow evening through Sunday afternoon, essentially north of Highway 200. Fargo-Moorhead not included in that watch. For today, partly sunny, breezy near 38, mostly cloudy overnight 22. Clouds tomorrow, light snow in the afternoon, high of about 33, and then temps steady or falling. Tomorrow night, breezy, areas of snow tapering to just snow showers or flurries, and 26. Fargo-Moorhead, cloudy and 31. Paul Juergens, News Radio, KFGO.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
375948 1-800-880-5346. It's playoff time for North Dakota State University. What I remember the most is wherever you go in North Dakota, you can get into a debate about UND, NDSU. It doesn't matter if you're in Crosby, North Dakota, Alexander, Bowman, any place. You're going to get into that conversation. And the next guest we have on is somebody who's been in a position where he took on the Bison. He took on the Bison at the D2 level at UND, had, quite frankly, a lot of success. Went on to Southern Illinois, knows that campus as well as anyone, and he coached there as well. And that's Dale Lennon, athletic director now at the University of Mary. Dale, good to have you back on News and Views.
Joel, good to be with you.
This time of year, old football coaches like you get up in the morning, the first thing you think about is Advil. Right? I get it. You played a lot of ball in your life, but this has got to be a fun time of year, just thinking about it.
Well, it really is. And there's nothing more exciting than playoff football. It's just all the way back to my early days, even being at Dickinson State and at the NAIA level. I mean, that's exciting. And how far can you take it? The potential for playing for a national championship and being able to have the success we had at UND and had some playoff success at SIU. It's just a very special time of year for coaches and players.
One of the reasons I was glad that you're willing to come on, Dale, was because of your understanding of Southern Illinois. I think a lot of people that, around the conference, they know their team. They don't get to a lot of the other stadiums and campuses. What would you tell people about Southern Illinois?
It's not a lot different than North Dakota. That was probably the thing that surprised us the most. It's a very rural community. The city of Carbondale is not very big. To get athletes in to recruit, we got to fly them into St. Louis, and then you got a 2-hour bus ride to Carbondale, which makes recruiting very challenging. But it's located in the Shawnee National Forest, so the setting is about as beautiful as you could have. A lot of lakes in the area. It's an outdoor type town. So, my wife and I, we love living down there. Our son graduated from Carbondale High School and graduated from SIU. So, when we were there, we bought into the community, and we're still very close with a lot of people in Carbondale.
So when you look at the Missouri Valley, having the experience that you have in that conference, 6 teams making the playoffs this year, I think that's pretty unheard of. I mean, this conference, by the time you go through it, you've proven something. No matter what your record is at the end, you've taken on the best, Dale.
It really is that good of a conference. There is no easy game any week. It's just something that, and SIU found that out their last game of the season playing against Youngstown, and Youngstown got after them pretty good and controlled that game, and SIU didn't have an answer for that. And you're looking at where did Youngstown finish in the conference race? Well, they were at the bottom, and SIU is a very, very capable team that on any given day could knock off any contender. So that just, again, tells you how strong the conference is from top to bottom. To survive the league is, you got to be good to be able to come out on top as NDSU is.
So I want to put you in that position. You're playing a conference foe. You've played them already. They know you. They understand your program. They may be coming into your house, but would you rather be playing someone that isn't from your conference? Which one of those two scenarios would you rather have?
Absolutely. You'd want to play somebody outside your league. And, Craig Bowl and I would always talk about, the toughest thing about being in the Missouri Valley is just coming out of your conference. And then the last thing you want to do is then play a Missouri Valley football team in a playoff setting because, it's just extremely challenging to do that. You'd rather be playing some other conference, and you just feel that you'll match up better against that other team.
Are we spoiled here? You know this area. You come from here. I mean, between the type of athletic programs we have at NDSU and UND, and, for example, what you're doing at Mary, are we just spoiled Yeah, I mean, you look at some of these other states, and it's like, man, we got a shot this year, versus we expect to have a shot every year.
Yeah, we're spoiled in a very good way. It's just, I like the fact that the expectations are that high, and with all the sports and when you talk about competing for a national championship, it's a reality. When you talk about beating a Division I team, it's a reality. It's great for the image of the state. That's something that does permeate outside of this region. People know North Dakota and how good the athletics are up here, and they're always asking, how is that happening? That little state up north, shouldn't be producing the type of athletic teams they are, but it's a good feel.
So, it's hard to ever get away from being a football coach. Still, it's your very fiber. You're a football coach. When you look at this Bison team, how do you match up against them? Are you going to have to use a little something that they've never seen before? Is there going to have to be a trick play here or there? Or how do you come into the Fargo Dome and beat a team like this?
Well, that's the tough thing about NDSU is it's nothing fancy. They're going to try to beat you up. They're a very physical football team. They'll run a trick play every now and then, but for the most part, they're not going to make mistakes, and they're going to make you beat them. And, that's the thing that you need as the opposing coach, to make sure you have a game plan in place that's not something that's extravagant and some secret success that's going to give you the win. You got to make sure your players are sharp and ready to respond with the things that they know. Now, with this matchup, which I think is going to be good, is Jason Petrino is the D coordinator for SIU, and he's had success against NDSU, and I think he has a good feel of how to defend that type of offense, and it'll be interesting to see how that matchup looks.
And I think that's one of the things that everybody points to. I think where you're spot on, right, Dale, is the fact that when you take on NDSU, tricks don't work. It's a rock fight. You're in the back alley, and you better be ready to be tough enough to take them on. And if you look at the history of when that's happened, I think SDSU, that's kind of been their mantra is, look, we just got to out physical them. And do you think SDSU has the type of players that could do that?
Well, I think, SIU does have, and I've watched a lot of their games, and, I like the way they play. I like what Jason Petrino's doing on defense, and him and I have a connection. In fact, I sold him my house this summer, so, we know each other pretty well. And he was the former D coordinator here at UMary under Myron Schultz. So, he's paid his dues. He was at South Dakota when South Dakota had some success against NDSU. So, I do think the staffs know each other well enough. I like what Nick Hill is doing offensively. It's a tough offense to defend. It's nothing fancy, but you got to be able to defend the entire field, and they got a quarterback that can make plays. So, it should be a great matchup.
So how in touch do you stay with all the guys? You mentioned Coach Bowl, Craig, and you got Roger. There's a lot of people in your life that you may have competed against at different times, but have the respect for, and my guess is you become friends. How tight of a fraternity is that, Dale? It's a very tight fraternity, and now, especially being out of the game, my role's a little bit different. Every now and then I'll get a phone call, and one funny story is recently I got a phone call from Brock Spack, the head coach of the Illinois State, and I was kind of excited to pick it up and visit with him, and here all he wanted was Bubba's number at UND. So, sometimes, you think you're going to connect with somebody, but they're just using you to help get in contact with somebody else. But the call didn't end there. The call didn't end there, did it? No, it didn't. Yeah. No, and we'd always talk about going fishing together, and coming up to North Dakota and catching some walleye. So those relationships are genuine, and they do last a long time. With the success that you had in the playoffs up north here at the University of North Dakota, there were always questions about teams coming up to the Alaris whether or not North Dakota was going to take them for granted. If you're the Bison, what's the biggest threat there? How do you make sure that they don't take Southern Illinois for granted?
Well, I think for NDSU, they just got to look to the spring. They got one of the greatest motivators you can have on your side. They got their butt kicked last spring by SIU. So, I'm sure that film has been watched many times. That's something that doesn't happen very often to NDSU. And that's probably the concern that SIU is going to have, is they're going to walk into the Fargo Dome, and that first quarter is going to be extremely aggressive. And what I'd always tell teams, too, if we survive the first quarter, we got a good shot, but we're also going to know we're going to get their best shot probably early in the game, because the emotions are going to be extremely high.
Yeah. I want to make sure we get a chance to talk about you, Mary, where you're at now, athletic director. How's things going on campus there? I watch from afar, and it looks to me like you got a lot of things to be proud of, Dale.
Yeah, we got things happening here, and and football had been something that we needed to rebuild, and I think we had a very productive football year. Got a couple players that are players of the year in the Northern Sun, which is saying quite a bit. So the programs are moving forward. It's a great community. Living in Bismarck is something that I've always enjoyed. The city of Bismarck. The University of Mary campus is just a great place to work. There's a strong sense of community. Everyone kind of takes care of each other. So, and being an athletic director, it's different than being a head coach, but it's also exactly like being a head coach in the fact that you're trying to provide all of your programs the keys that they need to be successful. So, I go to every event that I can, and when we lose, it hurts just like a coach. So, there's a lot of familiarity there.
I don't doubt that a bit. You and I have been around each other a while, and I can tell you don't like losing, and I like that about you. As long as you don't get mad at the refs when you're losing, that was a good thing, Dale.
And Joel, you'll appreciate this, because in football, I'm always on the sideline. And the thing that's been rewarding too, I've always had just about every officiating crew comes up and talks to me before the game, and they appreciated that I didn't yell at the refs that much as a coach. So, that is kind of nice to get some positive feedback.
I can vouch for that, and I can vouch for the fact that you had a right to a couple times and you still didn't. So, thank you, thanks Dale for coming on. People just love hearing that voice and being able to kind of get a take on where you're at when it comes to all this. So it's going to be fun on Saturday. I know. Thanks, Dale.
Yep. Thank you, Joel.
Dale Lennon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to the Weather Cave and visit with Tom Szymanski. Tom?
All righty, well, we got ourselves some system coming in for the weekend. They'll bring some snow to the area. Not everybody is going to get the same amount of snow. Some people will get very little, if anything. Some people, especially up north, may get plenty of it. We're talking several inches. And then wherever it happens to fall, there could be a blowing and drifting issue as we move into later Saturday night and also into Sunday. Generally speaking, along and north of Highway 200, for the second part of Saturday evening and through Sunday afternoon, there is a winter storm watch in effect, and it is roughly along that area and northward that I'm expecting 4 or more inches of snow. There will be some localized 6 to 8, 6 to 9 inch totals along and north of Highway 2 with this system. Conversely, as you go further south toward the South Dakota border and southward, maybe extreme southern North Dakota, and adjacent portions of west central Minnesota, little, if anything, will occur, maybe a trace to 1 or maybe closer to a trace. So it all depends on where you are or where you are not. It will get colder, 30s and 40s today, teens and 20s tonight, 20s and 30s tomorrow. And it looks like 20s and teens as we look into Sunday with falling temperatures by the afternoon as a gusty north wind takes over and some blowing and drifting occurs. So I'm thinking that Saturday night and Sunday there could be some tricky travel, especially across the north, but not exclusively so, mainly due to snowfall initially and then to the blowing and drifting of wherever the snowfall happens to occur. Minneapolis 37 right now, Rochester 36, International Falls 26, 30 in Thief River Falls, Detroit Lakes 32, Fergus Falls 36, and right now St. Cloud is at 33. Aberdeen 34, Sioux Falls is 37, Pierre at 37, and Rapid City's at 41. 31 in Hettinger, 21 in Williston, 25 in Minot, Bismarck 33, Devils Lake 28, and right now 30 in Cavalier, 28 degrees in Grand Forks, Jamestown 34, 32 in Waupun and Breckenridge, and right now 31 in Fargo, Two-Tall's town of the day, Rugby, North Dakota, where it's 25. Meteorologist Tom Szymanski from the News and Views Regional Weather Cave.
Thank you, Tom. The Cruiser, well, that is sponsored by the North
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too, so yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. Right. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this should
I could play this.
On what?
On my ukulele.
What?
I could.
You have a ukulele?
I did, honest. I broke it hitting baseballs with it. My mom didn't find it funny.
I'm not a fan of people who play ukuleles.
Well,
No, I'm not a fan of people who bring their ukuleles everywhere and then just play somewhere over the rainbow.
well, the key is to grow your hair out like Slash, and then just grab your ukulele.
And you're basically the same. Got it.
I was hitting a Nerf ball in the house with the ukulele. Because she should have known when she gave me a ukulele what I was going to use it
as
for.
a baseball bat.
And then I hit a post in our house after I hit the ball, right?
Yeah.
And we used to have, if you hit it above the windows in the living room, that was a home run. And me and my cousin Ward were doing this. And, I hit the post with it and broke the ukulele in two. But a year later, Mom goes, whatever happened to that ukulele? I don't know, Mom. I can't find it.
I think someone took it.
I just can't find it. That somebody had a son who had a birthday. I think it was yesterday, the first birthday. Maybe a ukulele should have been, rather than cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. Let's get to Sarah Heinrich, the award-winning farm and ranch director that we have here on the News and Views Network. Sarah, what do you, as a 1-year-old on a ranch, what do you get for your first birthday?
Oh, so my kids are 5 and under, so musical instruments are not allowed at this point in the
Just
day.
wait for the recorder phase when they bring the recorders
Totally
home.
Understand. Totally.
He got a dump truck with these balls, and so I was telling Doug and Dan on the morning show, if you put them in the hood, they came out through the truck into the box, and then you could dump them out. But the big brothers basically stole it, and Andrew didn't play with it for the entire night because the big brothers pulled their role. And they stole it from him. And this is real. I was the youngest of 3 girls. I felt his pain.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me and 2 of my sisters got a dog for Christmas. I was the youngest. I never even got to pet the dog. I never even got to talk to the dog. I never even got to say, hey, I didn't get to name her. We'll talk about it. Sarah, next, we'll get the markets from you in the next
we don't
half
have time.
hour.
We'll get them in the next hour.
She's looking at me like I'm nuts. All right, when we come back, Troy Coons. We're heading to the Northwest Landowners Association here in the great state of North Dakota. So stick around. We're going to talk a little oil. We're going to talk land rights.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. you can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. It's the outdoors is.
Paul Jurgens looking for a high this afternoon of about 38. A juvenile suffered minor injuries after they were struck by a vehicle while crossing a street near 26th Avenue South and Veterans Boulevard in West Fargo this morning. It happened around 6:30. Police say that juvenile was taken to a hospital. The driver was not cited. That incident remains under investigation. A mostly white jury is nearly set for the trial of the former Brooklyn Center, Minnesota police officer charged in Dante Wright's shooting death. 12 panelists have been seated, with just 2 more needed to serve as alternates ahead of next Wednesday's opening statements. Kim Potter is charged with manslaughter in the death of Wright. She says she meant to use her taser to stop Wright after he pulled away from officers who were trying to arrest him during a traffic stop, but drew her handgun instead. Governor Walz says the third federal emergency medical team has now arrived to support Minnesota hospitals. Walz asked President Biden for more assistance when he was in the Twin Cities on Tuesday. A team of 14 doctors, nurses, and staff are working at Fairview Southdale Hospital in Edina to support COVID-19 treatment and patient care. Other federal teams were deployed earlier at St. Cloud Hospital and Hennepin County Medical Center in Minneapolis. Governor Walz was in the area yesterday on his local jobs and projects tour. That included a stop at the Dilworth Fire Station, which serves a large portion of Clay County. The city was seeking state and federal money for a new fire station. It's estimated to cost $6.5 million. They're asking the state for $3.2 million on the next bonding bill.
The most important piece is citizens of Minnesota, citizens in any of our states, but in Minnesota, deserve to know that they're going to have the best public safety response, and that those folks that they are asking to either respond as police, firefighters, or first responders have the best equipment and the best facilities.
Fire Chief Mark Empting says they have a commitment now from the federal government for $975,000. The money would provide a bigger parking area for fire trucks and technological advancements. If approved, the station could break ground by 2024. The North Dakota Highway Patrol has now identified a woman struck and killed on a highway near Killdeer as 73-year-old Elaine Fedig of Killdeer. Fedig had stopped to help someone change a tire, and as she walked across the road, she was struck by a pickup and died at the scene. No other injuries. That crash remains under investigation. KFGO Weather Center forecast from meteorologist Tom Szymanski. Partly sunny, breezy today. In Fargo-Moorhead, we look for a high of 38. Mostly cloudy then overnight, 22 the low. Clouds tomorrow. Areas of light snow should move in the afternoon. High of about 33. Tomorrow night, breezy. Areas of snow tapering off to just snow showers or flurries. And 26. And Sunday, mostly cloudy, windy. Areas of snow. Some blowing snow in the morning. High of 26. Fargo-Moorhead. It is mostly cloudy and 31. Paul Jurgens, News Radio, KFGO.
So today on MSUM campus we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that kind of we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
And Derek Broughton, it's Northwest Landowners Association's annual meeting coming up. I'm going to go with Troy here first. Troy, good to have you back on News and Views.
Well, thank you, Joel. I appreciate you having us on.
And Derek, this is my way of making sure you're there. Are you there for me, Derek?
I am. Thanks for having me on.
I know you have your annual meeting tomorrow in Stanley. Talk to me about this, Troy. What's going to be on the agenda?
Tomorrow we start registration at 10:30 and we go till 3 o'clock. We will be talking about the lawsuit that we have against the state of North Dakota over pore space, and we'll be talking about some legislative reports. We'll be talking about a CARES Act report that we put together on the CARES money that was used for plugging and reclamation of oil sites, and open discussion on whatever is on the mind of property owners or businesses across the state.
Derek, give me a little update on the lawsuits. I know that these things take time, but every day is, it seems to me, the potential of loss. Well, not the potential, the real loss of revenue here. Where are we at with that?
Well, we are on our way with the Supreme Court appeal now, and so things are moving ahead at the Supreme Court. We've been back and forth just dealing with some procedural matters, and so this is the part where normally folks watching it from the outside think things are grinding down to a halt, but things are moving along, and we're looking at the potential to be in front of the Supreme Court for oral arguments by, I'd say, winter or spring sometime.
Troy, what's the attitude? I mean, you know what side I'm on in terms of how the Northwest landowners are being treated and all this, but what's the attitude? Is it getting beat down a little bit? Is it, man, this is taking too long? I mean, what are the guys saying?
Well, people mostly, I would say, are beside themselves in the fact that the people elected to the Industrial Commission or our legislators would actually vote in this fashion to break the Constitution of the U.S. and North Dakota in this fashion, and the lack of respect for a farmer, rancher, or a property owner in the state of North Dakota.
And if you take a look at what they did when it came to the CARES Act, it seems to me that the Northwest landowners kind of took a back seat again. I mean, I'm going to throw that one to Troy. I mean, when you see that, there's a lot of people even debating when it comes to the natural gas line, but is this a lost cause? Will we ever be able to convince the legislature that North Dakota landowners should have as much rights as anyone when it comes to oil.
Well, that's what we wonder is at what point and what happened for the lack of respect for us out here that come across the country and our forefathers lived in a sod hut and helped build the towns and helped build communities. And now when development is going to happen on our land and we want it to happen there and we want to be part of the procedure that we're the last people talked to, instead of upfront discussions, it's a mode of let's just take it, or eminent domain, or pass laws that are against the Constitution of the country. I just don't get it. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are very discouraged by how things have been going.
So, Derek, these lawsuits, because oftentimes they look at the lawsuits and they say, hey, we can just drag it out here, and they're not going to have enough money to keep going. Where do we sit with the Northwest landowners on that?
Well, the the judge recently agreed that the state should reimburse the Northwest landowners for over $100,000 of their attorney's fees. And so I think that's going to help, and it also sends a message that when the legislature is doing things that are unconstitutional, the courts are going to make sure that, if a small organization like Northwest Landowners Association is the one that's going to stand up to that, then the courts are also saying that, and if they're successful, they should recover fees. So that helps with it a little bit. But I think the other part of it is that, my firm is in this with Northwest landowners, and we're not going anywhere regardless of what it's going to cost.
Now, that's what I was hoping to hear. That's good to hear, Derek. Guys, I've got the governor of Minnesota coming on a little bit, but Troy, tell them what's going on with this annual meeting. Where to go, when to go, what time to go.
All righty, it's tomorrow in Stanley at the south side of town at the South Complex, at the county complex there. It starts at 10:30 to 3 o'clock. We're going to again talk about this CARES Act money, the federal money that was used for plugging and reclamation, and what we found there in the 70,000 pages of documents that are available to many people across the nation have requested. We're going to talk about pore space, one of the biggest changes coming at this state that very few people even have a clue what it is. That's going to be billions and billions of dollars, and legislative updates. So it's a very big day. We need your support. We'd love to see you there.
Derek,
Thank
keep
you.
fighting the good fight. Thanks for what you're doing. And Troy, hang in there, okay?
Thank you. Appreciate it, Joel.
You
Take
bet.
care.
Great, guys. Let's get to the weather cave and visit with Too Tall Tom.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook an Instagram and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out, and just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate but also have a sense of
Hey, this is Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that?
It
Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning.
News Radio. Amy Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Force.
Too tall,
Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Governor Tim Walz was in the area here in the Fargo-Moorhead area, and we had a chance to visit with him. I'm going to play that for you in just a second. It's going to sound a little echoey, hollowy. That's on me. But just take a listen to this conversation with Governor Walz.
Hey, it's a real honor for me right now because I get to speak to the governor of the great state of Minnesota, Tim Walz. Governor Walz, good to have you on News and Views.
Yeah, it's good to be back, Joel. I'm out here on a beautiful day. I get blamed for everything else, so I'm taking credit for this December 2nd day.
I don't blame you one bit. We're going to run this interview on December 3rd, so that's okay.
All right.
It better be nice tomorrow then, Governor. That's all I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You know what? As a former volunteer firefighter, I sure would like to have you as my governor because it sounds like you're building a new fire hall somewhere.
We are across the state. One of the things is our state finances are in solid shape. I think we've made good decisions in that. We've got an infrastructure bill that's coming in, but we've got bonding that we need to do. And some over in Dilworth, they've got a 40-year-old facility that puts their firefighters at risk. We've learned a lot in the last 40 years about carcinogens from fires and just some of the other things. And there's just certain things, especially for smaller communities, that you just need to partner on this. And so I'm gonna advocate for this one in the bonding bill that'll come up here in January. Makes good sense. It's needed. They have made great use and been thrifty for 40 years, but it's time to do it now. These firefighters deserve it, and citizens deserve to know that when they call 911, the response is going to be good.
So, Governor, when you take a look at projects like this, are they included in some of the federal dollars, some of the Build Back Better, that type of money that came your way?
Well, they could be. Now, the first one is the infrastructure bill, and Minnesota stands to get about $7 billion out of this. This has been long overdue, as you know, Joel. I supported it with President Bush. I supported it with President Obama. I supported it with President Trump. We couldn't get it through. We couldn't get it through the House and Senate and get it signed. Well, we do have it now. And we've got 5,000 miles of roads that are in poor shape in Minnesota and need to be fixed. And those are our tax dollars. They went to D.C. We get far fewer back than we give. And so we're going to be able to look at some of those. There will be some parameters around them. But what it'll do, Joel, is it frees up where we were using our money, state money, general fund money that could go to other things, including lowering taxes. But now we're going to be able to use this to build some of these projects. So there may be some specific, barriers around doing a project like this fire hall, but the state then has better capacity to do it ourselves, and that's the case I'm making.
Governor Walz, when you first ran for governor, I got a chance to get to know you. And the one thing that you pushed and talked about that connected with me was infrastructure. And so I have to ask you, grade Minnesota's, grade where you're at today and grade where you'd like it to be in the future.
Yeah, I think we're probably about a C on infrastructure, and I think we're going to have to start thinking about what happens to roads, from climate events that happen, flooding, drought, those types of things. I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't be an A. It creates jobs. The money comes back to folks. I'm incredibly grateful to Senators Hoeven and Kramer for supporting that piece of legislation, and bipartisan, needed to get done. We've got more work that needs to be done, but it's smart. And I tell people, when they think, they tell us to live within our means, they're absolutely right. The one thing is, though, for, your listeners, your home is your most important thing. Nobody wants to replace windows, but you have to. It's quality of life, and it keeps the value of your house up. Same thing with the state. We cannot allow our resources to deteriorate. We cannot, some states making decisions to turn paved roads back to gravel, or to not upgrade rail crossings and things that are safety issues. And so we've got work to do. There's some places, as you know, that are less than C in terms of roads and bridges. And we had about a $20 billion backlog when I ran for governor. I highlighted that. With this bonding bill that we did, with the next one we're going to do, and with the federal help, we can knock off well over half that, accelerating projects by decades.
Governor, there seems to be a great debate over whether or not broadband is, in fact, infrastructure. That's an easy one that I could answer, but I'm curious what your take on it is.
Yeah, I think it's an absolute necessity. It is not about watching YouTube videos. It's about being able to create businesses in this new world out here. I'm in Fargo-Moorhead on a beautiful day, beautiful places, good standard of living, high safety, all of those things. Without broadband all around, we're putting ourselves at a disadvantage. I just came back from a trade mission, Finland and the UK. They're looking at places like this. They're looking at places where they can invest here. And broadband makes that just like running water or electricity. And I'm making the case, and I've got a lot of smart folks out there, private businesses, public sector folks, that we've got about 87% of our state connected. I think it's even a little less than that in terms of true high-speed broadband. We've got the capacity now with this federal money and what we did last year in the state. Let's just finish it. Well, and it is an absolute, I consider it infrastructure.
Yeah, keep doing it, because that's the biggest competitive edge that we have with a global market. I mean, it is so huge, and I'm glad to hear you're here and you're pushing it. It needs to happen. Governor, I don't want people thinking both you and I duck this question. So I do have to ask you, how do we get our arms around in Minnesota, some of the violent crimes that we're seeing, some of the I have people that love going to Minneapolis, and all of a sudden they're talking to me about not going to Minneapolis. So how does that get fixed, Governor?
Yeah, I think one violent crime is too many, Joel, to be honest with you. But I think we need to look at this. We went into the pandemic in 2020 as the third safest state. Now we're about fifth. The reality is that there are too many. There's too many guns flooding the streets. We have got to not normalize this behavior. We've got to, as I've said, we have to support law enforcement to be able to do their work. I asked in 2019 for something called a fusion center that would let the state patrol, let the BCS, the Department of Criminal Apprehension, BCA, and those folks work with local folks to have better intelligence to stop some of these things happening. But I think you need to take it, realistically on this. One of the things we see, if you see a murder in a rural community, the actual murder rate is higher than it would be in Minneapolis and St. Paul. Well, that's small consolation to the family and to the victims who are in this. So I think there's a combination of things that we can do. And I got to be honest with you, Joel, I'm trying to wrap my mind around this. It feels like there's more of a meanness coming out of COVID. It feels like, airline fights and road rage incidences. And then you flood guns onto the streets. You make it more difficult for the police to be able to respond. And then I'm just, name it too. We've got a lot of folks with addiction issues, mental health issues that we have to do better at. So I think it's to putting it into perspective. I certainly will not make the claim that, because if there's one violent crime, that's too many. But I think you need to put it into perspective. And I think I would tell folks, I live in the cities. I run in the mornings there. I do those things, and I think other people do. We expect it to be even safer. But in comparison, what we're seeing both nationally and globally, we can turn this thing around. And it's going to take a combination. What we don't need is I get a lot of folks complaining about it and then offering no solutions. And I think there's some out there. And we're seeing that the public sector step up. There's a group called 21 Days of Peace, which is a lot of black pastors. They've taken back street corners. And they found things for kids to do. And they've taken responsibility in that, working with local law enforcement. And we've seen massive decreases in those areas. So I think there's models out there. And we put quite a bit of money into funding those types of initiatives, and I think we're seeing some results.
Governor, keep putting brick to mortar. I thank you for the time, sir.
Thanks, Joel. Take care.
Governor Tim Walz, ladies and gentlemen.
So that's part of what's happening with this infrastructure bill, right? I mean, the governor's talking about investments made by Minnesota. Well, that's true. Minnesota, and if you've driven on Minnesota roads, he isn't lying. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And so investing in those type of things, water, sewer, broadband, that is the key. Secretary Landrieu was on from the Biden administration this morning. I was listening to the news on the way in, and he was talking about how success in the rural area is going to be linked to a competitive edge that could be given with broadband. Well, that's true. If we don't keep up to date with high-speed service in the rural area, we're going to be lost. And we're lucky that we have advocates for that. The Broadband Association of North Dakota is one of the most important organizations in the state of North Dakota. I didn't know that I was going to say that 30 years ago. I didn't, but I'm going to say it now because it is. It is the link for you small towns out there. And so we got to take advantage of this infrastructure. We've got to do it right. We've got a window here. And I want to back up what the governor said about two Republican senators from North Dakota. Thank you to Kramer and Hoven for voting for this. They did the right thing. They did the historic thing. And I think Congressman Armstrong should have voted for it. When we come back, Brock Jensen's going to join us. We're going to get a chance to talk a little more Bison football. Thank you to Proceed for that. Need seed? Think Proceed.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. as we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just giving the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
So today on MSU campus.
Fargo-Moorhead, mostly cloudy. It's 32. I'm Paul Jurgens. A juvenile suffered minor injuries after they were struck by a vehicle while crossing a street in West Fargo this morning. It happened near 26th Avenue South and Veterans Boulevard around 6:30. That juvenile was taken to a Fargo hospital. The driver was not cited. Pennington County authorities in northwestern Minnesota have arrested a suspect in connection with a deadly drug overdose. The overdose occurred at a residence in St. Hilaire, that's about 7 miles south of Thief River Falls, and resulted in the death of a 20-year-old woman. Deputies responded around 10:30 last night. Overnight, law enforcement served a search warrant at Thief River Falls for 23-year-old James Morin was taken into custody and booked into jail. According to Sheriff Ray Kuznia, Morin's charges have not yet been filed in district court. They will most likely be decided next week after the county attorney's office reviews the case. The name of the woman has not been released. A mostly white jury is nearly set now for the trial of the former Brooklyn Center police officer charged in Dante Wright shooting death. 12 panelists have been seated, with just 2 more needed to serve as alternates ahead of next Wednesday's opening statements. Kim Potter is charged with manslaughter in the death of Wright. She says she meant to use her taser to stop Wright after he pulled away from officers who were trying to arrest him during a traffic stop, but drew her handgun instead. Minnesota State Patrol has started outfitting its troopers with body cams, with the entire force scheduled to have them by the middle of next year. Patrol Chief Colonel Matt Langer said if there is future civil unrest, policy requires that troopers' body cameras be activated.
I wish that we had body-worn cameras deployed during all of our civil unrest deployments over the past couple of years. I think it helps. It gives a record of what happened, and it leaves little to question about who did what, who said what, who's at fault. At least you have a record.
The patrol does face lawsuits stemming from riots after the murder of George Floyd. Just yesterday, a security officer for CNN withdrew his lawsuit but kept the option of filing it again. It alleges the state patrol targeted him for being black and illegally arrested him during that protesting and rioting. Minnesota DNR is lifting its temporary ban on the movement of farm deer in the state. The emergency rule issued October 11th will be rescinded Monday. That rule was aimed at preventing the spread of chronic wasting disease and protecting the health of Minnesota's wild deer. It was put in place after the DNR learned 387 CWD-positive deer from a farm in Wisconsin were shipped to Minnesota and 6 other states. KFGO Weather Center forecast. Meteorologist Tom Szymanski is expecting a partly sunny day, becoming partly sunny. High of about 38, mostly cloudy, 22 overnight. Tomorrow, cloudy, areas of snow coming in the afternoon. High of about 33. 26 then tomorrow night, breezy areas of snow tapering to just snow showers or flurries after midnight, maybe some freezing drizzle. 32.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good.
Now you're just spoiling him. You realize that, right?
Well, you have to play Thunderstruck.
The man's got to work, and he's got a baby on the way. I mean, think about this. Now he's so fired up. I mean, he's not.
You got to get pumped for the baby.
One of the greatest Bison players ever, in my opinion. Brock Jensen is with us. He played football, and he played quarterback at North Dakota State University, and he led the Bison to 3 consecutive national championships. Now, that's not a bad record, is it, Abby?
Not bad at all. I think I went to one of those.
Did you? Well, I went to every one of them, so it was an absolute blast. That's Brock Jensen. Brock, good to have you back on News and Views.
Hey, Joel, Abby, thanks for having me on, guys. That song never fails to just get me super fired up. I might have to take a lap around my office building here.
I told her you were going to, there's work to be done, and you're going to get them all fired up. Are my spies right, Brock? Are you got a baby on the way?
Yes, that is correct. Yep. May 1st is the due date. So.
Congratulations, buddy. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
You bet.
Thank you.
Let's talk about this a little bit because it's the first round of the playoffs for the Bison, the second round of the playoffs, but they had that, the opening seed bye. So what is this like so that you've been there, you found your way to Frisco, to not get complacent, to know that place might not even be sold out? I mean, how do you get ready for a game like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but you have to just, tune out all the noise, all the things that are going on with the media, and just really get back to how you got in this place, protecting, the dome, and it's a new season. Everybody's 0-0 right now, and the focus has just got to be one game at a time. This is a Saluki team that has showed signs of being dangerous at times. They got some good talent, and it's super hard, Joel and Abby, to beat a team twice in a season. No matter your record, no matter the talent, comparison between teams, it's really difficult to beat the same team twice in a year. So the Bison have to just dot their I's and cross their T's in this game plan, and just focus on game number 1 here in the playoffs, and then do that every step of the way. And if they take care of business, they'll find themselves back down in our second home down south.
I want to ask, though, about what you just said in terms of beat its same team twice in a year, because is it an advantage or a disadvantage? Because you're sitting there playing a conference foe that you know incredibly well. You beat during the regular season, but yet you look back in the spring and Southern Illinois kind of took the Bison to the woodshed. I mean, how big of a factor is that, Brock?
Yeah, like I said, it presents just some difficulties and some just challenges in and of itself. Just again, another Missouri Valley team right off the bat. I think Illinois or Southern Illinois' best chance to beat the Bison here is going to have to be very creative with their offensive strategy, and they better come up with a good, solid way to communicate in the dome. That's going to be the most difficult thing for them. So I mean, the Bison are going to be very difficult to beat at home, and I think if we just play good, sound Bison football like we're accustomed to, and run the ball well and take care of the ball, limit turnovers, I think we're going to be really hard to beat. But yeah, the same team twice in a year, it just presents a lot of different challenges just within, you've seen the same team, you've seen each other on film a lot, you kind of know what each other do, but it's kind of a matter of who can make the biggest adjustments and maybe throw in the most wrinkles that will obviously help determine the game.
So, we were talking earlier about this. You played spring ball, Brock. I mean, there's a spring game, all of that. It's called practice.
Yep.
Is really what it was. But
Yeah.
these guys played a spring season,
Yeah.
And you take a look at that, and it looked like the Bison, and this is just from the outside looking in, actually got healthier as the year went on. I don't know if you could see that from afar too, or if you even agree with it. But how big of a factor is that? Because this Bison team looks pretty healthy coming into this game.
Yeah, that's such a good point too. I know we were so beat up in the spring. A lot of our defensive starters. I mean, we were just across the board, definitely a beat up team. But I think that's a great point, Joel. At any level, sometimes the healthiest teams are the ones to win the championship. Not always the best team. And that's the case for any level. In the NFL and college, even in the high school level. Having all your starting lineup, healthy and active and ready to go is a big deal. So, they're meeting a Bison team that is definitely their arrow is pointing up, and they seem to just be clicking better and better every week, especially on offense. Cam's really starting to settle in nicely and find his groove. And then, on top of it, we're super healthy, and we got, a roaring crowd behind us. So it's going to be really difficult for challenge for Southern Illinois this week.
How about the look around, Brock? I mean, you're sitting there and you were on 3 national championship teams. You're going to dominate some of these teams in the playoffs. I mean, you don't want to say it, but you look at it and say, well, that's one we got to worry about. The old cliche, you better worry about this week before you get to next week. I mean, how hard is it to get the athletes to think that way?
I can speak on behalf of my experience, and Coach Bowl just did a really good job, and his staff. Coach Began. Obviously you have that bye week, and when those brackets come out, you're obviously, everybody naturally is kind of looking at your road. The road to Frisco. Okay, what do we, what will we run into? Who's on our side of the bracket? How could things play out? And you're doing all those kind of things, but after you kind of figure out, all right, this is kind of our situation. It has to turn to the mindset of one game at a time. Let's do our best to just focus on who is coming to the Dome each week. I mean, and that's how it's how you have to prepare. And the coaches really are the ones to make sure that mindset is taken, and that that the focus is maintained on a week-to-week basis. This is a new season starting here tomorrow, or has already started, I guess, but for the Bison, tomorrow. So just gotta stay in the moment.
Brock Jensen, quarterback for the Bison, 3 consecutive national championships, so he knows a little bit about what it's like to be playing playoff football. Brock, when you see teams that you expect to do well, and I'm not looking ahead myself, but when you see teams that it's like, look, they're better, they should win this one, and then they fall behind in a first quarter, for example, and next thing you know, the Salukis are sitting there saying, wait, we can play with these guys. How important is that in the first quarter for the Bison to come out and just tell them, look, you're in our house. This is an uphill climb.
Yep, exactly. I mean, if the Bison do that, they're going to run away, I think, with the game, pretty early. But that's the big thing, coming out. Usually the first 10 plays, Joel, are scripted plays. How you're trying to attack the defense. If you're on the offensive side of the ball, those, and you're trying to stay on script. And usually there's a shot play in those first 10 plays, and we got to try to just figure out a way to stay ahead of the chains, not have any bad plays and penalties, coming out of the gate. And, if we can put points on the board and then get a big stop, or vice versa, get a big stop and then put points on the board if we don't get the ball first, that's going to be, key, like you said, because if we can, come out swinging out of the gate right away. That's going to be tough sledding for a team, in the dome, in the playoffs, like the Saluki team. So if the Bison do that, I like our chances.
So, Brock, let me give you a scenario, right? I mean, you're a leader on these teams. You walk into a redshirt freshman's locker room. You need him. He's got to be ready to rock and roll on Saturday, right? And you can tell. You can tell he's nervous as all get out. And you're like, buddy, been there, done that. What are you going to say to that kid the night before the game?
Yeah, I think just be you. Be yourself. If I'm I was in that position as a redshirt freshman, and and you got guys that are a lot older than you, and you're looking at a bunch of seniors in the eye in that huddle, and knowing that you're one of the leaders, and people are looking at you as the quarterback, and I think you just got to be yourself. At the end of the day, it is a game you've been playing ever since you've been probably little, Pop Warner days and so on and so forth. And just try to, not to make, it's a lot easier said than done, but it's learned over time, but not make the moment, bigger than it needs to be. It's just, it's still a game. You have a game plan. You've practiced it all week. You've developed confidence in that game plan and what your assignment is and what your job is and responsibility is that week. And it's just a matter of going out and executing the plays that you've practiced. That's really what it comes down to. You can tune out the noise, tune out everything else, and just, at the end of the day, you have to do your job. And if all 11 guys, on both sides of the ball do their job, it can be a pretty special thing that happens on a week-to-week basis.
Brock, give me a pick. All right, I know you're going to pick NDSU. We've known each other for a while now. I want scores. I want to know the score, buddy.
Oh, okay. So let's go NDSU 42, Salukis 20.
Okay, that number, yep. I would have came within 3-4 on each side of that. I would have. Jack Michaels is in studio with us right now.
Well, anytime I hear the great Brock Jensen. Hi, Brock. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, Jack.
Hey, and Joel already said at the start of this, but bless you and Kayla. I'm so thrilled. I know the child's not born yet, but is he or she looking for an agent? Because
not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Good question, Jack.
Yeah.
And we'll let you know when that time comes.
But people don't realize that Brock is married to a tremendous athlete in her own right. I called all of his wife's basketball games in college at NDSU. Not to put any pressure on the newborn because it's not here yet. But
Brock, are you starting to wonder who the leak was to me that you had a baby on the way?
I said I'm so excited you had you on today. Brock's also
that's awesome.
And I know you're not here to talk about vomit, but Brock Jensen is one of the guys that you want to talk about respect for a quarterback. Brock Jensen is one of the few guys I know that had been. Was that the Georgia Southern game, Brock? That you had? Right,
Jack. Yes.
Talk to me.
I'm talking. Yep, that's one of the most memorable games in my playing career. Trying to battle through the flu.
He's got a flu. I mean, he is just getting ravaged. Yeah. I mean, the flu. There it goes at halftime, and boom, he's got to keep playing.
Yep. I remember I was just throwing up, just vomiting profusely on the sidelines, and Coach Polisek was just screaming at some of our wide receivers, "Well, make a circle around it," because everybody in the stands were looking at and pointing and stuff, and Polisek's like, "For God's sakes, put a circle around the kid," And
this is how you win championships, baby, right there.
Yeah. You got to power through.
You're a great human being, man. You're a great human being.
Brock, the bad part is we got your cell. We're going to keep calling you through the playoffs, okay?
Yeah, please do, guys. Love it.
Brock Jensen, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Proceed, Need Seed. Thank Proceed for being such great sponsors. We got a little bit of the Jimmies to talk about today,
and I mentioned earlier this morning, but you want to do it after this? This is a radio tease?
This is a radio tease.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Right, Abby?
Right. Yeah. Biggest tease. What are we going to talk about?
More coming your way here on News and News.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know. To me, it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years. And I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. We're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night, the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things.
Hey, that Jack Michaels can throw pins as well as anybody, can't
Well,
he?
I thought we were just I thought there was like a rock and roll
banging. Can I throw one at her too?
Go ahead. That's Friday. That's your Friday.
Catch one of them. For
We're trying
Christ's
to
sake.
get, oh my wow! See, I almost hit her in the bridge of the nose.
It's called workers' comp.
I love this part of your show. I mean, I like your show, but I love this part of your show because this
right in the eye.
Everybody go to YouTube. You'll see us throwing stuff at each other.
Jack started it. Jack
You know what?
started it. Here we go.
No. Not for the Jamestown Jimmy volleyball team. It has been a good journey. They're 35-0. And last night, Joel, they beat Bellevue, Nebraska 3-0 in the national quarterfinal tournament. National tournament. Today, they've got Park University out of Missouri. They win this one, they're into the national championship game.
35 and what?
They take a 35-0 record on the line today. Tyson Event Center in Sioux City, Iowa. Good luck to those Jimmy ladies. They, kids like, Kelly Hagerly, the West Fargo, Anna Holland. Does the name Holland ring a bell from Lemoore? That kind of, they are loaded with some Pingree Buchanan stars. 35-0. They've got Park University today.
How cool is that?
ESPN 3, if you want to search it out.
I mean, it's on ESPN 3?
ESPN 3. So if you go through your app and find your ESPN Un de Trois, boom.
Way to go, Buffalo City.
And go get it. And Sean Johnson, the athletic director, told me yesterday, and I believe this is right, I don't think Jamestown has won a national championship in any team sport. So if they were to win today and then win the national championship, they could hang that big red banner, and it'll be there for all to see.
This is my bias, but it's proving out to be absolutely true. When Sean was at UND, I thought, man, how do we keep him in this state?
Yeah.
Left for a little while, and I thought that's a bad thing. He came back to Jamestown. I thought that's going to prove
You're
very
a smart
well
man.
for them.
He's a good man because he's been all around the country helping programs out, and he's really doing well in
He
Jamestown.
understands it. He gets it. He's dedicated. He works about 80 hours a week, or more. So it's guys like him that make a difference. So
if they win it, you and I and Abby can go pet the buffalo.
Okay.
Didn't sound like she really
Did
was.
you see how I waited to see what her reaction was?
That's fine.
It's a big buffalo. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, no, I've seen
Yeah, okay. It's large.
Have you ever been on top of it?
I don't have. Do people go on top of it?
Oh,
They're
yeah.
not supposed to.
It's like a rite of passage in Jamestown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's if you want.
I've petted it.
What did you do to it?
Petted. I've pet it.
Hey,
I see we're rubbing off on her.
Yeah, I was going to
That's
say
good.
she's learning vocabulary from me. See, there we go. All right, thank you, Bones. Appreciate it.
All right, brother.
On Monday, we're going to have Senator Aaron Oban on. Aaron understands education. Aaron understands education funding. She understands how things are supposed to work and how they're not supposed to work. She's going to be a big loss to this state as she pulls the pin on her career in the state Senate. Her and Nicole Pullman, one Republican, one Democrat, absolutely fabulous state senators. It's a loss. But we're going to talk to Aaron about Starkweather. So we'll see you then. Good riding with you, folks.
So today on MSUM campus, we're doing an ice jam, which is we're combining a bunch of percussion instruments with ice instruments, which are also going to be used in a percussive form. We're going to hit them with mallets, hammers, all those types of things. Today is all improv, so we're all just kind of working with ideas that we just kind of think of as we go, and we kind of play off each other, and it's fun to collaborate, but also have a sense of.
Why do I like ice fishing so much? I don't know, to me it's just something I enjoy and just a hobby that I've been into for quite a few years, and I'm not necessarily good at it, but I enjoy it. It's fun. It's good time to get out and hang out with all your buddies and just get away from reality for a little while. First time that I ever went ice fishing, I was like 6 or 7, and I actually fell through the ice. We were in a portable ice house, and I was standing in there, and my dad and my uncle Kevin were moving it, and when they pushed it, I wasn't ready for it, and my leg went down the hole. That was fun. It was cold. You can get into hunting and fishing and stuff like that relatively cheap, and it's just like buying a vehicle. You can spend thousands and thousands of dollars, or you can just go to Walmart and get enough stuff and go out and do it, and you can be just as successful as the people that spend all the money on it. North Bros Outdoors, yeah, me and a buddy of mine, Jacob Enixon, we went to high school together, and we actually had the idea back in high school to make an outdoors page, just hunting and fishing, four-wheeling, anything outdoors basically. A lot of it right now, it's really, really heavily based on ice fishing, and this fall it was heavily based on deer hunting and bow hunting and rifle season too. So yeah, just kind of an outdoors group, and we call ourselves North Bros Outdoors. We've got a Facebook, an Instagram, and a YouTube channel. There's plenty of brands out there that you can get into it. If you're questioning it and you want to do it, do it. You won't regret it. The outdoors it's awesome.
Robertson here with another Dante News Radio.
Hey, this is Abby Abby Miller with the
Derek
Mighty
Hansen,
790.
Couch Potato Radio. Did you see that? It Takes Two. Doug Miller with the morning crew this morning. News Radio.
Katie Eiler with It Takes Two.
This is Jack Michaels, Voices Forces. Joel Heitkamp here on the Mighty
Sarah Heinrich.
Tyler Axis, your host.
The Mighty 790 and 104.7 FM KFGO. The names you know, the voices you trust.
Well, we're doing a food giveaway event to the community. A lot of people are facing food insecurity at this time. As we can tell, we had to start about an hour early because we just had so many people lined up. So as people come up and they need whatever they need, volunteers are taking care of it. It's all contactless, so nobody has to get out. And just making sure whatever the greatest need. We're just getting the greatest good. When we're going until the food is out. As people are coming in, if they need 2 boxes and 2 gallons of milk, that's what we're giving. We don't want to leave anybody out.
I was in the hospital, and I saw a flyer on the wall. And all the nurses were talking about taking people down there to get food and stuff. I got out last night. Got out of the hospital last night, and I said, man, I'm going to do this. When I came from Williston here, I lived on these streets for 3 years, caring. And that's what this is. That's the way I see it. Very helpful. I think it's going to be very helpful because I know people that are doing without.
I think it's truly remarkable how much need there is out there. Like I said, we were going to start at noon, but we had so many people lined up. We started at 11, and volunteers have been working their tail off since then. I'm thankful for that. I think this shows that there is some huge needs in the community, and we got some things we got to